This means communication between the physical world and the spirit world. Personal responsibility for all our actions whilst on earth, and a path of eternal progress open to all souls. Spiritualists believe in an interpretation of these principles. We believe that God is immanent spirit and that we can come to consciously realize the inner presence of God within ourselves. We are all part of the divine spirit. Our spirit is divine. So let us now seek this inner divinity by entering deeply into our own true selves. Let us relax thoroughly and free our minds from the physical world surrounding us, and for just a few moments, let's meditate and listen inwardly. Divine love dwells within us. Divine wisdom enlightens the dark places of our minds. Divine power is at our request. Divine power is always at our request. Let our thoughts dwell deeply on our guides, helpers, and loved ones in the world of spirit. Let us extend to them a loving welcome and embrace them with our love. We now invite you to join silently in the invocation and dedication. As each thought is expressed, we invite you to adopt it as your own and to aspire towards its fulfillment. We spirits incarnate and discarnate join in loving fellowship and communion and strive to be united through the consciousness of our common nature into one holy body, which shall become the vehicle for the powers divine. May this spark within burst into flame, purge us of all dross and impurities, and make us whole. May it cleanse this house in which we are gathered and guard it from all negative conditions. We dedicate ourselves, our gifts, faculties, and powers, and all the divine attributes which we inherit by virtue of our kinship with God, to the service of our fellow human beings and the world of spirit. We vow to continually aspire towards the goal of spiritual perfection and to express our boundless gratitude to God in actions rather than in words. By devoting our lives to comforting the mourner, cheering those who are depressed with earthly cares, tending the poor, healing the sick, and manifesting the fruits and the teachings of spiritualism in our words, thoughts, and deeds. May we strive to fulfill these sacred vows, ever draw nearer to that eternal divine spirit in whose presence our lives are bound and sustained. Amen. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to hand over to our speaker for this afternoon. Would you please join with me in making Alan Bennett very, very welcome? Hi, Alan. I'll hand over to you now. Could you please unmute?
It takes a while, but I get there. Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Alan.
Right, okay, thank you. Yeah, I wasn't too sure at the moment, but yes, so it's very good to be on the platform, so to speak, again today. I was expecting and looking forward to being in the church in Ringwood with you all, but the rules didn't allow that, so here we go again on Zoom. I'd like to, as usual, I'd like to start with a reading which I've taken from a small book called Opening Doors Within, a compendium written by a wonderful lady called Eileen Caddy, who was a co-founder of the Findhorn Foundation in Scotland in the 1970s. and she had an extraordinarily close link with her spiritual guidance, and she refers to it as the God within me. And she compiled this book with a reading for every day of the year, and I've chosen one from February the 7th to read today, and it goes like this. Make time to search your heart. Are you taking anything or anyone for granted? Do you ever feel bored and fed up with your life? Are you a giver or a taker? Is your life one of service to your fellow human beings, or do you demand certain rights for yourself? You cannot expect to find true and lasting happiness unless you give and are there to serve without any demand for the self in any way. Only when you can accept that this life is a life of service, a life of giving, a life of complete dedication to me and my service, a life where the self is forgotten and you are living for the whole, can you understand what I mean when I say that it is indeed a full and glorious life you are living, and how mightily blessed you are? So start right now expanding your consciousness. Start living and working for the whole, and see how your entire outlook and attitude will change. And so that's where Eileen Caddy is getting communication from that God within her, and obviously it had relevance in her life at that point of time, and it certainly has relevance for me at this point of time in my life. The words are easy to read, but the requirements and the statements are constantly demanding us to pay attention to whether we're a giver or a taker. And when you reflect on the lives of all the great spiritual masters and spiritual teachers, and even the lesser ones through our modern era, the message is universal. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter whether it comes through the Buddhist philosophy, the Hindu philosophy, the Islamic philosophy, or Christianity. All the great religions of the world have the basic fundamentals of that little message for the 7th of February from Eileen Caddy in her book. So how come there are so many problems in the world? Well, there's that golden rule. Someone said it somewhere sometime. Life wasn't meant to be easy. But the thing we need to remember is we chose it. Before we incarnated into this life at this time and with these people that surround us, it was our choice. Why would we want to reincarnate into a world which is covered with war going on in countries all over the world? Why we now have this enormous 100-year epidemic on our doorsteps, and lots of people losing their jobs and unemployed and hardship all around. Why would we choose to do this? And the answer is in the reading I gave. Do you ever feel bored and fed up with life? Are you a giver or a taker? One of service to your fellow human beings? And that's, in a nutshell, the fundamental principle behind the life of every one of us as we're leading it now in this day and age. And there are challenges dished up to us, and those challenges are there for us to accept and to embrace and to do our very best to live a life of service for others. Sure, we have to have food on the table, we have to have a roof over our heads, but there are many, many things in life we could live without. At this particular point in time, we can't live without Zoom. And yet 10 years ago, Zoom wasn't even a thought in anybody's brain, I don't think. But it's evolved from the consciousness of humanity to come out as an aid for good, but which also can be used in error for the hardship and difficulties of other people. So with all our modern technology, we have to look at the good aspects of what it does and disregard the negativities. Look for the good in all that you see. And that's a common phrase, again, through the great teachers over the centuries. So time is of the essence when we are here this time round. Some of us will have chosen a short journey in this life, and others a quite lengthy journey. And there is no right or wrong to how those lives unfold. It is all in the plan for the individuals of how our life unfolds. Even supposed accidents are really a destiny situation. And I'm reminded of a story I read in a book written by a wonderful palmist who read people's hands many years ago in Europe, called Cheerio. And he related the story of a young nobleman in his country, and he read his palm, and he forewarned him that at the age of 21 he would be killed with a head injury. And as his life unfolded, he was quite young when that reading was given to him. He was quite young at the time. War broke out in Europe, so he became a soldier, went off to the front, and at the age of 21, copped a bullet in the head, which was his demise, and he passed into spirit. So you would have thought with the message that was given, he could avoid that situation, but it was in his destiny. It was in his plan for this life. He only had to endure this planet for a very short 21 years, but it was a tragedy within his family and his whole community, the passing of this vital young man. And the sign was for someone that could understand and read the signs. It was showing in the palmistry that was read at that time. It's one of those little snippets that you read over time, and it's stayed with me, pardon me, for a very long time, and unforgettable, really. And so we need to remember when life's difficult, it's a hurdle to be overcome, and the best way to resolve it is to put it on hold and become quiet and calm and focused and centered. And if you're fortunate enough to understand who your guardian spirit is or a helping guide, just sit quietly and quieten the mind. And that is the hardest thing we all must do. We must quieten the mind and just open our hearts to receive the love and guidance that we will receive from those loved ones in spirit, or as Eileen Caddy calls it, the God within us. And by doing this, we can avert a lot of wrong steps in our life. It's not easy in the early days to do this, and newcomers to our philosophy are here because they've had a psychic experience mostly, or they've had a bereavement. And those are the two major reasons why people are introduced into spiritualism. They want answers, and they're expecting to get it from the things that I say as a speaker and the messages that the mediums will give this afternoon from their loved ones in spirit. And that's the wonder and lovely part of our philosophy. Nobody else does this. Nobody else can provide these opportunities for people who have had psychic experience and are totally confused and don't know how to bring all the endings together into a consolidated system of communication with spirit in a safe and harmonious way. And it's for most of us, it takes time and dedication and commitment to set aside that time to be quiet, just to be still. And this is the point where our brain waves slow down to a frequency where spirit can communicate with us. And as I know a lot of you already understand, it's that frequency, it's that energy where the love vibration can flow through to us. With most spirit communications, you'll feel that essence of pure love as the individuals come and begin to link with you. And they're as excited as we are for us to complete the processes so that we are able as individuals to do this and allow them to resolve problems or concerns or queries that we have, instead of us rushing off to ask a medium or read a book or whatever else. The information is there. Our links are there, but they need to be activated by our conscious desire for it to happen, and our desire or our willingness to commit the time and space to create the stillness that is needed to get our brainwave functioning at that right frequency where spirit can communicate. And it may be by giving you the words, you may hear a voice, audio personally, and you may see images, or you may sense and feel what they are bringing to you. And it may be a combination of all of those or some of those. It just depends on the individual and what level you are at this time with spirit communication. But it is, in my opinion, it is the most important thing we can do in our lives, is to create and solidify a link like this for ourselves. The good news about this is the VSU run classes. And so when you're ready, you talk to the leader of your church or group and see what can be done for you, and you can find a safe place to comfortably work on your own abilities, because they are there waiting for you to do this. This sounds like a selling spiel, doesn't it? And we're going to charge you millions of dollars to do it. But it doesn't work that way. And there aren't very many rich spiritualists in the world, I don't think, because what we do with love, and we do to provide service for our fellow man, so that they can enjoy the benefits of spiritual communication as mediums we do. And it's a right for humanity. But the tragedy is, in the world today, well, it's going back through the history of spiritualism, the 150 years, from day one, there is opposition coming from the fields of the orthodox established religions and skeptics. And that's been the way it is for spiritualists, certainly in all my time that I've been involved, which is coming up very close to 50 years now, a long time. But I do see that there has been change in that time. When I first started going to a spiritualist church, which is a church run in a public hall in Seaford, the local Christians would be out the front with their Bible, reading quotes from the chapters in the Bible that were relating to mediumship and how wrong and how bad it is for you, and trying to stop people going into the hall for our meetings. And this happened, I know, in Hughesdale Church as well. I know it's happened in the VSU in the city in those days, not every Sunday, but semi-regularly, and we haven't had that for a long time. So that situation has eased off a lot. I think another thing that has helped us in very recent times is the fact that through the mediumship of, on the medium of TV, from time to time, there are very competent mediums who strut their stuff. And if you can stay up late enough at night, you will find them. And they give excellent evidence of spirit communication of loved ones coming through to speak to the people they're working with. And that's influenced thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people. And as I said right at the very beginning of the talk, that we all have the ability, and it's just a matter of finding the right tools to open up, to allow these things to happen. And the way spiritualism works in the modern era now, here we have Zoom, wasn't thought of a few years ago. And although the restrictions 5 kilometres from home, that's as far as you can go, don't go any further. With Zoom, we can go not only anywhere in Australia, but literally around the world. So it's a mighty change for us to be visible in that context. So we just have to, as individuals, serve the people we need to serve, to help the cause, to help those who have health problems, who have financial problems, who have other mental or social problems. Do what we can, even if it's a referral on to a practitioner or a medical practitioner or whatever, but just to be caring. It is that essence of caring that people sense and feel. And we probably don't do it enough. I probably don't do it enough. I'll put my hand up to that. But I do say that I do my best. And that's all we can do. Spiritualism is a wonderful philosophy. We are given a hard time by a lot of people, but the wonder of opening up the philosophy to newcomers is an enormous buzz. It's a wonderful feeling to help someone on their way coming into this philosophy. That's what I try to do to the best of my ability, and talks like this to help. And I'm running out of steam, so I think I've just about said enough for today. So thank you for listening. I hope it has helped some of you on the way, and I wish everybody all the very best in the future in your journey of expansion and inquiry into the realities of spiritual life. Thank you.
And we thank you, Alan, for that beautiful and inspiring talk. So please join with me in thanking Alan again for those words that really open up to the meaning of spiritualism and that spiritualist philosophy. Thank you so much for many years of wisdom in sharing that with us all. And for that healing energy for those who have moved into the spirit world. We send love and healing to them. I'd like to move into our notices for this afternoon. And as we said earlier, if we are back live, our services will be running both at North Melbourne and at Ringwood. And on the Ringwood platform next week, live, we will have the Reverend Dominic Listro to do the talk for the afternoon, and a demonstrator, Amanda Peters, and also Steve Randalls, who will be on the Ringwood East platform. Now, North Melbourne platform will be Bill Hosemans as a speaker, and demonstrators will be myself and Brian Smith. So, and if we are on lockdown, we will combine the services again, and we will be here as we are this week. So get onto the website if it is extended, and book your seat on the website. Good afternoon, and I will now hand you over to Deborah Vella, who will be doing some readings for you on Zoom. Hi, Deb, how are you? You have to unmute. Well, please join with me welcoming Deb.
Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
I want to say thank you, Carol, for those beautiful images. In our world, especially what's been going on with us, we seem to forget about the beauty all around us that is in nature. And I just loved all the images you had up on the screen. So thank you for that. And you will have to excuse my nerves, because this is even more daunting than being on the platform at the VSU, looking at all little squares of people looking at me. Anyway, here we go. May I come to you, Erica, with the short sleeve top on? Yes, please.
Hi there, how are you? Thank you.
Thank you, I'm well, thanks. I didn't realise it was you, but I just couldn't stop being drawn to your square, because I have to actually lean forward to see who it is.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's funny, because as soon as I was drawn to you, I just heard the words, not enough hours in the day. Would that make sense to you?
Yes.
And while I was giving those words, I just felt like in the background there was music, like a polka music going on in the background. And that music can start off with a nice easy beat where you can keep up with it, but as the song progresses, the music speeds up. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
And would that be connected, that type of music, would that be connected to an older gentleman, possibly a grandfather?
I think it's more connected probably to my country, if I...
Okay. I didn't know why I was getting that, because it was taken, when I was hearing the polka music, it was taking me back to a time when this gentleman, he's actually a father of a friend of mine, was playing that kind of music, and he pulled me in and he wouldn't let me go. And I tell you what, I've never been so dizzy in my whole life. But anyway, it was sort of giving me that feeling of that's what's been around you. A lot of this, things are like going along quite quickly, but they seem to be speeding up.
Yes.
Yes, and there is an older gentleman coming in, and he's showing me that he's got like a check shirt, possibly a vest on. I don't think he's as tall as you or I, because I do know how tall you are. And he gives me that grandfatherly feeling. I don't know whether you can recognise that description. But it feels like it's going back to grandfatherly feeling.
I don't know. I don't remember visually my grandfather's, but it could be well and truly be. Yeah.
Well, the other thing he was telling me, I'm sorry, I can't give you someone that's you do recognise, but he is coming in, and the reason he's given me that music is because he really loved music. I get a sense of that. So he used music as a way of explaining to me what's happening around you.
Yes, I do the same.
Okay, well, that's good, because that's what he wants me to remind you of. If things are speeding up, use slower music to bring it down, especially if you're trying to work out or plan what's ahead for you, like for the next week or day or whatever it is that you're planning. Put some like slower music in the background, so it gives you time to sort of slow things down and think about how you want to plan things. Would that make sense?
That would make perfect sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Deb.
I'll say thank you to him. So may I leave that with you?
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you very much. God bless.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
May I come to Amber?
Yes, thank you.
Hello, Amber.
Hello.
I was getting a lot of strange things when I was sort of partially connecting with you before. Like I said with Erica, I was getting drawn to your square, and it was the pink top that drew me in and wouldn't let me go. Some really weird things where I was given as a visual, and I'll tell you so we can try and make some sense of it. Would you understand a dog in spirit that was really lively?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, I just want you to keep that in mind, because the next vision I was getting was times like when you might be trying to do some kind of like yoga or something and you're on the floor and something keeps annoying you, or something's happening to disrupt that.
My dog here does that, and I go to do a downward dog and she comes and lies under me. It's classic. Every time I do it, she does the exact same thing. We all laugh about it.
Yeah, well, it's not just you laughing about it. There's an older lady coming in and she gives me the feeling that she's a grandmotherly feeling as well. And I feel that she was just a nice build in her physique. Would she have had a bit of a curl in her hair?
Yes.
Yeah, so I feel that she just is really drawn to when you're doing this yoga, because she just...
Oh, she did yoga. She did it.
Okay, well,
She was
that's
years ahead of her time before anyone else did it. Everyone used to laugh at her back then because it was like 30 years ago. No one did yoga back then.
okay. And would her dog have annoyed her? Was that her dog we're talking
No, it's
about?
our dog now.
Yeah, so I feel that there's some kind of connection. Yeah,
okay.
with that. So there's some similarity there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really drawn in, and she's showing me how she's just standing there in the background. I'm going to laugh on her behalf. She's standing in the background and she's watching this play out in front of her, where this dog keeps annoying you while you're trying to do your workout. Yeah, so she really understands all that.
That's so funny.
A lot of, upliftment and joy and laughter as well.
Yeah.
She just bringing you that image to show that she is around, and there is that connection, I guess, because you both were into yoga and both got the lively dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess she's just popped in to give you her love today and just to let you know she's there.
Thank you so much.
And may I leave that with you?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Okay. All I can hear is silence. Is it possible to leave it there? My nerves are kicking in.
Would you please join with me in thanking Deb for those gorgeous readings that she just did from her guides, and we do appreciate stepping outside comfort zone, stretching. It is not easy, we all know that, so we thank you so much for doing that. Thank you, Deb. So now I will welcome Erica Amino to our platform. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Lorraine. Thanks, Deb, and also thank you to Alan as well for sharing his philosophy today. And I know that we wouldn't do our work if it wasn't for our pioneers. So, all right, I'm really emotional today, which is a little unlike me, so I will digress. As I work today, I may work in just slightly different ways with this new Zoom platform. I may go direct, or I may just throw out the information, whatever I feel compelled to. So bear with me today. But as I work with you today, I will say just a yes, no, and if you're unsure, please let me know, and I will do my very best for you and your people in the spirit world. All right. So as I work with a gentleman in the spirit world, I know that he feels like father to me. And I know that he would have been quite an active man. He would have been quite sporty in his personality. I feel like he may have watched quite a lot of sport. And I understand that also he may have enjoyed playing golf, is what I understand. As I work with him, I also feel like he would have been an incredibly stoic father that would have perhaps had some health issues, but I know that perhaps he tried to remain as active as he could because of that interest in sport. So if you can understand all of my information, father in the spirit world, quite a sporty gentleman, perhaps quite a passion for golf, can I ask you to raise your hand? Do I have nobody? Oh, Carol is sort of giving me a half a wave. I might just get you to unmute yourself, Carol Smith, if I may.
Hello.
Hello. We'll just make sure, Carol, that there's nobody else waving at me. All right, excellent. All right, Carol. Do you understand all of my information, Carol?
Yes.
All right. Do you understand that he would have had quite a dry sense of humour as I work with Father in the spirit world?
Yes.
And I also recognise with him that you would see that he would have been a very stoic gentleman. I feel like he would have always picked himself up and dusted himself back off, even though there were times where he started to perhaps become fragile within his health. Perhaps his mobility was being compromised towards the end of life. Do you recognise this, Carol?
Yes.
Do you also recognise with him that he would have also had very strong friendships with other people that would have had similar interests?
Yes, definitely.
Good, because I just know that as I work with Dad, I feel like he's a family man, but I also know that he's got lots of friends and he's very chatty and very jovial. I know also that there may have been a common interest in community or something to do within community. Do you understand this, Carol?
Yes.
Yes, because I also know that he was quite generous in terms of his time and the way that he liked to be involved in things. So I know that there would have been a sense of maybe helping out at maybe some like events like a school or something of that nature, and perhaps when you were children, like a working bee or things like that, because I know that Father would be very involved with this. Do you understand, Carol?
Yes. He was.
Yeah. Because I just know that he's a family man that very much felt the need to be ever so present, even though I understand that he was very hardworking. Do you understand that, Carol?
Yes, he was a very hard worker, but he involved lots of people in that.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I want to impress on you as I work with Dad today. He's saying that he gives me a sense of you've been tiny bit in your head more recently, and there's been some worry or concerns for others within the family, and he's saying that you've been worrying about how much perhaps you support, but how much you also step back from this situation. Do you recognize what Father speaks of, Carol?
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect, because I want to impress on you today that Father comes like with his stoicness and his support, just to let you know that he stands firm with you, and he's saying, you know, you just got to be, you're a very matter-of-fact lady, he's saying. And so he's saying you just got to work with what you have, be patient with yourself, and you can be rather hard on yourself at times. Do you see that with yourself, Carol?
Yes.
What Father recognises of you, because he's saying, you know what, she's so hard on herself, but she's doing a damn good job, and sometimes there's a need to give you a pat on the back and say, you know what, you've got this, Carol, you can do it. And you do that for other people, but he's saying you're not wonderful at doing it for you. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
Right. All right. I also want to say to you that Dad gives me a sense of coming with a lady today also, and I know that the lady would have also passed of cancer, and I also recognize that she would have been quite a stoic lady. I want to call her like the rock of the family. Do you understand my information, Carol, about the lady that comes with Dad?
I'm not sure about the cancer, but I can think of a stoic woman that would be with him, yes.
All right. Do you know whether she had any stomach related issues before she goes to the spirit world? Because I get very much drawn in that area. I feel like there may have been multiple things sort of going on at the time of passing.
Yeah, I'm just a little unsure.
Okay, perfect. All good. But I just know, I'm not going to go into the unfoldment of her, but I know that she comes in with Dad today because also she's impressing on you that there's something of a more creative nature, something that you enjoy doing. And she's saying it helps you to relieve stress and it gets it out of your own mind. So she's inviting you perhaps today to go back to a hobby or an interest that you were once passionate about. Do you understand what she speaks of, Carol?
No, I'd like that to be very clear, but no, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I just feel like there's some kind of craft or something hands-on that you used to do or that you used to enjoy doing, and I just feel like it's something that she is saying it'll help you to get out of your own headspace at times.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, Carol, I just may leave the love of your dad with you and the lady from the spirit world. I feel like she is grandmother as I just finish off with you. That's the kind of feeling I understand with her, Carol.
She was very crafty herself.
Oh, okay. You understand that with her. Okay. Maybe I've misinterpreted that information. But anyway, I'll leave the love of grandmother and father with you. God bless. Thank you for working with me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. All right. All right. Now, I think I'm going to want to speak to Dominic, if I may. If he's still on. Dominic, he looks like he may have gone on us. He's not putting on his camera or his microphone. Okay. All right. I might see if he comes back. All right. Okay. All right. I feel like I have a gentleman in the spirit world with me, and as I work with him, I know that he would be Uncle, and I know as I get the feeling with Uncle, perhaps the name of Frank would be significant to him. I know that he passes from perhaps a respiratory or heart-related issue because I feel very tight within my chest with Frank. So I just invite you to put your hand up if you can understand my information, please.
Alan Bennett's got his hand up.
All right. Alan, would you be able to unmute yourself, Alan, please?
Yes, that you should hear me now.
Perfect. I
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Good.
Do you understand all of my information, Alan?
Yes, but my father, not an uncle.
Not an uncle. All right, Alan. Just bear with me for a moment. Do you understand with Father, Alan, that he would have been quite organised and quite meticulous in his work? Because I understand with him, he would have been a person that perhaps would have measured twice and cut once, is what I understand. I know it's a practical way to put it to you, Alan, but that's what I speak of when I talk about a meticulous nature within his work ethic. Alan, do you understand this?
Yes, he certainly had that.
Yes, and do you also recognise that Father would have been quite sharp of mind?
Yes.
Like good with numbers and good in a way that he's very practical, and he just would have worked through things in a very methodical nature. Do you see that with him?
Yes, he was an accountant.
Ah, very good. Because I just know that there's a sense of figures, and I know that he moves my mind into that. In many ways, you are not dissimilar from Father, but he impresses on me that you have a willingness to let things, you're not as structured as Father. You've allowed things to now wash over you, and you allow them to let you let things go. Where at one point he's saying you would sometimes put yourself under quite a bit of pressure, but now there's a real sense of just enjoyment and saying, I throw caution to the wind. Do you understand, Alan?
Yes, more or less, yes.
Yes, because I feel that there's been something within your life that has been perhaps more of a concern, and I do feel like I want to say again family, but he impresses on me that there's this need just to surrender and trust that all the support that is needed is slowly trickling forward, is what I understand. So I feel that he talks about son, so not you as his son, but I feel like it's your son. Do you understand this,
Yes,
Alan, that he refers to?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Do you also recognise that your father would have had quite a close connection with your own son, and there would have been quite an inquisitive boy within your son as a child when he was around your father?
No, that's no. My father had passed before he was born.
Okay.
Mm.
Do you understand that perhaps maybe I've misinterpreted? Just let me step back just for a moment. Do you understand that you were a very inquisitive boy, and he would be able to do like bits and pieces, and he would spend time teaching you how to do things?
Yes, he was good at that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, because I just feel like there's an inquisitiveness that he talks about.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I look for answers all the time.
All right. Well, I just know also, Alan, that there must be, I don't know whether there's been a significant book that you've been looking at more recently, but he moves my mind to a book with a signature on the inside of the cover. So I feel like there's been something that you've been gleaning from reading a such publication, and it's bringing you a sense of comfort, but also a sense of curiosity. Do you understand this at all, Alan?
Yes, I think so. The book I quoted from today is actually signed by Eileen Caddy.
Ah, perfect. All right, because I know that this would be significant. The signature is what he brings for you today, just to give you a reassurance that it's your father from the spirit world, because I know that he's so meticulous in the way that he comes through. He's saying, I just have to make sure I'm absolutely precise in letting Alan know that I'm with him today. So if I could leave him with you, God bless, Alan. Thank you for your address today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Erica, Dominiqu's back online.
Okay, perfect. Hello, Dominic. How are you?
I'm good. Well, thank you.
That's good. May I come to you with a message, please?
Certainly. Thank you.
All right. Just as I had the lady with me, and I know that I got a sense if she was with you. I felt like she was quite small in stature, but I know that her physical appearance would have been, like a stark contrast to her personality, because she was strong, and she had been through many life experiences that taught her to be quite strong in her character. Do you understand this, Dominic?
Yes, I think I do, yes.
Do you recognise this with Mother in the spirit world?
Yeah, okay.
do you understand, as mother being on the shorter side, but she would have experienced quite a lot of hardship, and there would have been lots of challenges, but she was always quite a positive lady. Do you understand this, Dominic?
I do, yes.
Yes. Do you also recognise with her that she would have been quite an honest lady? She would have been supportive, but she would have been very clear with you about her feelings or intentions.
Yes, okay.
All right. And I also feel like with mother, there would be a time where you had to provide quite a significant amount of support, because I feel like there had been times where her health had started to become very fragile and you would have had to be her support person. Do you understand that at all, Dominic?
Not that part, no.
Okay. Do you understand that mother would have needed to go into some form of care? Perhaps into a home, or perhaps needed to go from her independent home into a living arrangement, Dominic?
My mother passed away quite suddenly, actually. So we keep talking about somebody else.
Right, just bear with me. Maybe I've got my relationship wrong, Dominic. Just give me a moment. I mean, I don't want to change it too much from a mother feeling, but would this be fair in saying perhaps a mother-in-law?
Yes, that could be.
All right. Because I just feel, do you understand, with mother-in-law, she could be quite an honest and frank lady in the way she addressed you.
Yes.
Because and you would understand that she needed quite a significant amount of care towards the end of life, because that's what I feel.
Yes.
Yeah? Because I do feel that she would have been quite an independent lady and would have not perhaps wanted people fussing about her or doing too much within her home. Do you understand that, Dominic?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. I also feel that she would be a person that would either warm to you straight away, or she would be a person that could be quite private. Do you understand that with mother-in-law?
Yes, I do.
Yes. And do you understand also that there would have been a sense of being like quite a homemaker, because I feel like I have a lady that was very house proud as I work with her.
Yes.
Yes. All right. All right, Dominic. I know that as I work with her, she comes with a sense of wisdom about some insights or things that you're working on. I don't know whether you've been considering writing a publication or putting together some articles or some things that you've. It's sort of like she takes my mind to things that maybe have only been half finished. Does this make any sense to you?
Yes.
Yes. Because I feel like she's saying it's like you've got to go back to some things that were really significant. It's like you've put them on the back burner, but she impresses on me that just now may be an opportune time to revisit these things. Do you understand that also that you've been perhaps pushed or inspired to maybe write a publication of your own?
Yes, that's always on the cards. Yes.
Well, I think that today she comes with an encouragement to let you know. She would give you a little bit of a hurry up, if you like, because that would have been her personality. Does that make sense to you, Dominic?
Yes, yes.
Because I feel like she's the kind of person that would have wanted it to happen like yesterday, is what I understand. So anyway, I'll leave the love of your mother-in-law with you, if I may. Thank you very much for working with me, and God bless.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Erica, we've actually come to the end of our session, so we have to stop here, unfortunately. Please join with me in thanking Erica for those beautiful messages from Spirit, your spirit loved ones. And of course, please thank Deb for her beautiful mediumship as well as we come to the end of our service. Thank you, Deb. And of course, Alan, for his beautiful talk this afternoon. So please join with me in thanking Alan Bennett as well. And of course, to all of you for joining us here today. I would also like to remind you that if you would like to donate to the VSU to help us to maintain our services to you, please jump on the website and you can make your donation via that website as well. So as we finish off for this afternoon, we'll do our doxology and finish with our prayer for peace. I'll just do some screen sharing. And I'll just read the prayer for peace. As we expand the horizons of our heart, we join with the many others in our world who seek to serve as emissaries of divine light. Our endeavours invoke the law of attraction, calling upon the angels of mercy to usher the love of the Creator into our troubled world. As the wings of love spread far and wide, we ask that all in need be lifted up and empowered to live a happy and peaceful life in harmony with the divine plan. We also ask for guidance from the higher spheres to be shown to the leaders of our world, thus giving them the wisdom with which to understand universal law and love for each other. May peace prevail on earth. May it begin in the hearts of each one of us. Amen. And we do sincerely thank you all for being here today, and to all of our volunteers and committee members, and of course to Lorraine Latette. We thank you all and we say our goodbyes, and we hope to see you live, fingers crossed, next week, either at Ringwood or North Melbourne.
Thank you very much, Carol, for hosting our beautiful service this afternoon. It's been our pleasure to all be together. Thank you indeed, and we'll see you all soon.